All right. So we talked about moving the needle forward. We talked about power and adversity. Now let's go over the principles like we talked about before in the green box and how they're going to move us forward. So, like I said, the 47 principles in there, and 47 is quite a bit. I'm not going to cover 47 tonight in this part of the talk. I mean, you guys are, you stayed through the whole time, and hopefully you got a lot out of this today to move forward. But this here, hopefully you can get something out of this part to apply directly into your life so you could start really getting the confidence to make this happen. But principle, like we said, principle 4, stop getting advice from financially broke people. I always touch that one because that's the most important one, I think, because we'd like to listen. The people that we listen to don't have the results. So let's stop listening to them. We hear them all the time. And when we went to the circus yesterday, I was like, that would be a cool way to grow up in a circus. Because then, it doesn't matter what you do, your family's not going to give you grief over your choices. You can do whatever you want after that. It's like, well, at least I'm not in a circus, right? And you can do so much, because a lot of times we want to live the life that maybe our family or parents put out there for us, or I know that's a big struggle for me. Is the life that they had is not the life that I have going forward. But the program is actually going to teach you. It's not a normal financial program as you see it other places. You talk about the other financial programs. You talk about all numbers, all budgeting, or if it's an offensive program, it's talking about schemes to make more money, leveraging a bunch of money that you don't have to do something. It's not talking about that. It's talking about getting holistic in terms of what you're doing in every area. Well, principle 42. It's studying and understanding free enterprise is an essential part of financial fitness. One of the speakers that we've listened to through the years is a guy named Oliver DeMille. You guys, I haven't heard from him in a while through our system, but some great stuff. In one of his talks, he talks about what's going to save the country. He's one of the best teachers on what helps freedom and how our country was founded and how to keep a society free. And he talks in one of his talks about a mini factory. Is what's one of the things that's going to save our country, save free enterprise. And what a mini factory is a small group of people doing something that society needs better than a big company can do. It's simple as that. And where do you see more and more of that? The big box stores, the big companies are not doing that well, or at least they're not serving that well anymore. And you see it happening now. You see these hurricanes going on, and who's helping? Who's helping people grow and helping people through that? It's individuals. It's individuals doing certain things, and that's a huge thing that we're going to study and understand. That's what the country was founded on, was small entrepreneurs doing things to move things forward, and that's what we're studying in here. And that's what those of you that are on the RED program with us building this. That's what you're applying it to. So keep that in mind as you're doing this. There's just a few of the principles there. The green box is an excellent foundation to develop what he calls the mini factory. And basically what that is just being able to handle yourself and do things and handle whatever comes at you. Do you notice that more and more you go through the green box and you go through the principles in there, you can handle whatever life throws at you more and more? Because most of our struggles are financial. If all the financial pressures were gone, how much easier will life be? Right? If you win the lottery, there's a 96% chance you're going to go broke in 5 years, though. Right? Would some lady just win like $700 million in Powerball? If I won Powerball, I wouldn't tell anybody. I'm like, I'll give you $100 million just to keep me anonymous. Because if I lose it all, I don't want anybody to know. I just give it to Shelly. She'll know what to do with it. I don't think it's in the book, but they say like one of the top things that actually it is in the book. It's not one of the principles though, but you could tell how one of the biggest indicators of financial success is the wife's spending habits. And it's funny because I don't know if say I'm bad with money, but Shelly's very good. My dad is terrible with it. He's he loves giving away. My mom is always like she's pinched pennies her whole life, and I know it turns out they're surviving. They don't work anymore, and they're coming out here in a couple weeks. Right? Don't tell them I said that. Should I bring them to one of these meetings? Yeah. Oh man, the other side. Oh, I can't. I was just talking about what he had to do with the mob. I can't. I crossed the line tonight, by the way, by giving you guys all that stuff. But anyway. All right. Good. let's talk about principles. Let's stop talking about the mob, right? Principle 17, retirement should not be an issue of age, but rather a function of having enough passive income to live on for life. And retirement means retiring from things that are not part of your purpose, so you can focus on things that are your purpose. Now, you don't hear that in other financial programs, right? So that should tell you that what the Green Box isn't just a financial program. It's a playbook for life, pretty much. And finances is a huge part of it. But think about that. I talked about before. We like cash flow. One of the principles. What is it? The principle that talks about owning a business. I forget which one that is. I think it's 5. But it talks about owning a business. Own a business as the best way to create your financial future. So you can go through all of the stuff in the program, but those of you that own businesses are going to accelerate much faster than if you don't own a business. We talked about having cash flow through that business. And why do we want that instead of a big pile of money? Is that making sense? So we're told that we're supposed to save a bunch of money for retirement, have a big pile in your bank account, or a lot of the conflicting teaching that I hear out there is they say everyone's got to own a piece of real estate or something like that. You got to own your house, and that could be the truth, but maybe it's not for some people. And what I mean by that is, we want our income to come from something that is our purpose, not necessarily from a big pile of treasures that we have. Okay, so I don't know if it's our life purpose. Is it my life's purpose to, own a big house or own a big piece of, a huge bank account or something like that? No, but it'd be my life's purpose to bring value to people through some kind of business. Is that making sense? What we're talking about there? So some kind of business, as long as it's something that's serving people and something that's helping people move forward. That's what we're talking about here. That's what the program is saying there. And principle 4 also goes back to not following results from not listening to people that don't have results. I think a lot of the people that we listen to that don't have results are the Joneses. You guys know who the Joneses are, right? Keeping up with the Joneses. Norm's looking at me like, who are the Joneses? No, the Joneses, they say we spend a bunch of money that we don't have to buy things we don't want to impress people that we don't like, right? We see that all the time, all right? We don't want to go there with this. We want to live our purpose, and sometimes it's hard to do. It's like a big what's the word we're looking for? I don't want to say hurricane because hurricanes blow things away. What sucks things in? A tornado. Does that suck things in? Black hole. Nice. What was the movie with the black hole that just come out there with who's that guy? The guy. The guy. Interstellar, see? Joanne knows what I'm talking about. The guy, Matthew McConaughey. Yeah, he was in the black hole, and there's that one scene, it has nothing to do with this, but where he gets stuck on that planet where every minute is like a year over here. Imagine that. That would not be right. But a lot of people get stuck in building their business or doing whatever it is they're doing, and don't get stuck on that planet. Okay, you have 5 years go by and you're in the same spot 5 years before. All right, so we don't want to go there. This program actually helps you with stuff like that by defining what you want. If you know what you want, you're going to be able to move forward there. And see, the Joneses, we don't want to keep up with them. We don't want to try to keep up with them because you hear the Joneses are broke. But where are we getting our inputs from? It's funny because we think about 10 years ago. Did everybody have a flat screen TV 10 years ago? No. Can you imagine not having a non-flat screen TV? We just got our first flat screen TV. Oh, you're great. Norm's my hero. We don't have one. Oh, you guys are my hero too. We just got one because ours was so bad. Like it had you needed a pencil to change the channels. So we had to, and they don't sell regular old TVs anymore. Or how about black and white? Does anybody really? Oh, man. So, you lost a notch there, But that's it. I mean, you're seeing people, what we find is if the millionaire next door talks about the people that are truly wealthy probably aren't driving the fanciest cars. Because the chances are the people that have the fanciest cars don't really own them. They're renting them from a bank. They say drive the drive-through of the bank is there so the banker could see his car. Is that right? Anybody living there? I'm not trying to insult anybody here, by the way, Because I know I don't do everything that's financially fit. Shelly was talking about before, to clarify, the girls are watching commercials. Some of you are probably wondering, what do you mean, they got TV? Well, what happened was her brother gave us an Apple TV box for Christmas. And so every once, so we got this Apple, it's like your TV's like a phone now. You know what I'm talking about, like the smartphone? Yeah, that's your TV now. So there's shows on it. That's how that happens. But that's our first time into this in a long time. And like, we could take it or leave it. We could get rid of it. We love the VHS, the tapes, So what do they say? Pencil and a cassette tape. Do you know what that means? Do you know the relations? All right, I'm looking at the youngest group out here, and they know what it means. Nice. These are my people here. Nice. So, well, that's so funny. So principle, let's get back into the principles here. Principles 44 talks about, in addition to cash savings, save some of your money in something other than fiat currency. And, we like to talk about gold. We like to talk about silver. It just says something other than fiat currency. You look at what's happened with, we talked about before, I said, my grandmother said, remember $50 was $50? Remember $500 was, we're getting to that point where $500 is like not a lot of money anymore. You could see that flying out of your bank account for no reason whatsoever. And maybe 5 years ago did that happen. Think about that. Did that happen recently? I'm not talking about if you own giant business. I'm talking about just in your day-to-day living. We're finding, a new set of tires. We were driving through the canyon today to get here. I just got new tires on my car, and I almost killed me and Shelly not because I didn't want to get into an accident, because I didn't want to have to buy new tires. Because I just spent a bunch of money on tires. Right, and it's like I don't want another hit this month, So they're devaluing the currency, and this is happening. But that's a big piece of adversity that's thrown at all of us, isn't it? $10 to get a sandwich and a soda for lunch doesn't sound like a lot of money anymore. A couple of years ago, that would have been crazy. Right? Just a few years ago, not that long ago. Now you got to go to the dollar menu, and the dollar menu, everything's like $3. So, but why am I bringing this up? You could take that adversity. And you don't have to settle for it. We just got to find a way to take it head on. And the best way to do that is get good at your defense, but get some good offense going. And the principles in the green box teach you the principles of getting better in offense, whether you're involved in our enterprise who's finding that they're taking this and applying it to their self-employed businesses now or their jobs now, and they're doing better on the offensive side. I'm not just talking about saving money. I'm talking about just making more. There's so much opportunity now. You hear today that it's the end of the world and that people aren't doing any, everyone's struggling and, no one can make it anymore. I don't think that's true. I just think everything's changing. And if everything's changing, we just got to know how to adapt to it. And the principles in the box, they help us adapt to it. Because what I love about it, it doesn't say do this or buy this thing or do this. It says understand the principles, so whatever is thrown at you, you can deal with it. Now, beyond financial fitness, we'll get into specifics. Listening to multimillionaires, what they do with their money. You guys some know the story. I met Chris Brady at one of the functions, like an after-hours thing, and he was, it was at a bar. I know we're an organization that doesn't hang out at bars, so it was a bar, and none of the alcoholic things, like none of the tubes were hooked up. Let's put it that way. They were serving Cokes and waters. Anyway, Chris Brady leaning against the bar. Can you picture that? It's so out of context, right? But he's talking to Tony Tefel, and you guys know Tony Tefel, great leader out of New York, and they're talking, and I just totally butt in and start interrupting. So some people haven't heard this yet, and I started asking him. I asked him about Bitcoin. He's like, I forget what he said. It's like, what's the bleed? He said bleeding edge is what the word I remember him saying. It's like, yeah, it could be great, but you could bleed to death too. We just don't know yet. It's too soon for that. He's saying, and he's not going to put the whole organization on that path. And he said, well, I do this. I build a business here. I invest in some gold here. I save money here. And I said, wow. I said, you should just write that down. And he looks at me and goes, yeah, it's in Beyond Financial Fitness. It's all in there. It's like, so he knows that I still have to go through the green box before I get to the green and gold one. But that information is that good. Let's start to wrap it up a little bit here with Principle 46. This is one of my favorite ones, and it's a long one, but it's a really good one. And it talks about investing in yourself by learning to be the kind of person who consistently engages in an enterprising, creative, enthusiastic type of life. That sounds cool, doesn't it? I want to be. I just love that word, enterprise, too. It's a cool word, you know. It sounds like it's adventure, but it's an enthusiastic type of life, and fill your days with enterprise action and doing things that matter. And teach your children and the people that you work with to do the same. And we don't hear that teaching anywhere, especially with this. Now, the program's going to go through the budgeting and all the stuff that any program that you would think really hovering around finances would. But they don't tell you to live your life, teach your children this, and teach the people you work with. I mean, I spent some time, you know, some of you guys know I spent some time at a job at the water plant there. And the few days a week I spend there, sometimes I just get so frustrated with these people that because they're still wrapped into what they're doing that I don't want to teach them, but then I'm not doing them a service, right? I'm listening to them tell me how they make millions of dollars, but none of them have it. So, but a lot of times you get sucked into their thinking, you know, and we gotta guard ourselves in that. We gotta guard where our inputs are coming from. Our system is that good that if you just plug into our system, plug into this program, you're going to break away from that. You know, I talked to some people that I work with, so we're on the path to financial freedom. You know, we've been this company's 5 years old, and we're doing this. You know, raising 3 little girls in Eagle County takes a lot of money. I know every time that a new kid comes, we got to hit a new level in the business. You know, basically, a fortified leader will cover your health insurance, and that ain't getting cheaper. You know, I remember, you guys know Michael Saylor out in Aspen, the insurance guy? He's the best insuranceman in the industry. You know him? Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I used to buy health insurance from him years ago. And I was starting to look, okay, we're getting to a point where I could start planning for when we break away and are completely financially free. And, you know, got to start to look at how life's going to look, right? So a big part of it is covering health insurance. How do I do that? So let me call Michael Saylor. If anyone knows how to start to look at that, it would be him. So I call him up and I said, all right, how do we go about doing this? He goes, all right, well, how many kids you got? How much are you paying now? I'm like this. He goes, well, keep it. When the best insurance man in the industry tells you not to buy insurance from him, you know there's a big issue going on there. Right, so that's a little sidebar, but get that information from the right people to go on with that principle, doing things that matter, teaching your children. Become the kind of person who consistently works at your current enterprise. So that means just really embracing what you're doing and getting adventurous with it. A lot of times I love it because one of my teams is down not far from Durango, and that drive from Eagle to Durango is one of the best drives. It's actually called the $1 Million Highway. Yeah, but if you think about it, $1 million doesn't work that much anymore. So it's like $1 million, you know. It's happening. We're seeing it right before us, right? Oh, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, but going over, I didn't realize I was my train of thought. I was just pausing, getting my breath. But, you know, it's going over there, I mean, I just have so much fun doing it. It's so much fun because, first of all, it's a gorgeous drive. You're driving over, so you could die anytime because there's, you know, no guardrails and there's thousands of feet of droppage on either side. And or I can go through Wolf Creek Pass, which is much milder. It's steeper and it's got a ton of snow, but, you know, you're not going to necessarily die on it unless you get run over by a truck. But, you know, the point I'm trying to make is I have a lot of fun with it because of what I'm doing. We're building our enterprise there. It's so much fun knowing that we're doing that and what this is. And before I got started with this, if I would have taken that drive, I would have been all miserable on that drive. Oh, it's beautiful, but the world's going to end because of the coal, or whatever, right? Or whatever. You know, my priorities were messed up at the time because I was almost stale. And when you get stale, you start to look at everything that's negative in the world. When you have something that's fun to do, it gets to be a lot of fun. It gets to be a blast. We talk about the Tesla, by the way. That's a coal-powered car, by the way. You guys, all right. It is. I got a coal-powered lawnmower. I love it. It's great. But the garage doesn't smell like gasoline, so that's what's good about it. But, you know, keeping Somerset going, right? But knowing that we're doing that, it's just a lot more fun. So guys, we'll close with this tonight. Whatever, when you leave here, what you're doing, take that principle. Look at that principle. What was it? Principle 46. Look at that. Apply it to everything you do, and it gets to be a lot more fun. When I talked about taking that business hour every single day and talking to people about business, that's how I'm thinking. If I'm walking around all tight and miserable, it's not going to be that way. If I'm having fun with it, people want to be a part of this if we're having a blast. So we're having a blast now, and we're going to fill that next theater over there because we're going to do that. So let's recalibrate where we're going and hit that goal, hit 200 people here. I enjoyed sharing with you guys. God bless. Drive safe.